Holy shit, I just watched episode 4 of Knights of Sidonia, and I kinda came to the realization that there might be a crowd that this show is for, and I'm not in that crowd. So I'm considering this show dropped. If you are really, really, really into, like, dark, gritty sci-fi, and just the thought of, like, space and space stations and interesting futuristic concepts like a third gender or robots in general or alien life forms, if that kind of stuff just innately fascinates you, then maybe give Knights of Sidonia a shot. If you like technical language or characters going like, oh, his Higgs particle level is accelerating rapidly and stuff like that, like just that, no, like with nothing else, is enough to get you excited, Knights of Sidonia is for you. For me, I don't dislike all these things. I think gritty sci-fi can be really well done. I think this kind of genre convention can work well. But just that is not enough to get me through a show. Whereas with other Tsutomu Nihei works, for example, it was more about the atmosphere. I mean, also the artwork, which this show, the fact that it takes place mostly in space, does not work for me. Whereas I enjoyed Blame, his first manga, just because of the fact that it was all in like an industrial complex, and I like industrial locations. I don't care about space, so seeing a show that's entirely in space for the most part, this episode was like all in space, just bored me to tears. There is an atmosphere, like a gritty atmosphere, but it's not atmospheric, if that makes sense. Like, the series has a definitive tone of darkness and stuff, but it's not really about that, or not capitalizing on it a lot, I would say. And the characters are just non-entities. I can't possibly care. I cannot possibly care about any of these characters. There's a scene in episode 4 where one of the love interests looks like she's about to die or something. And because of how violent the last episode was, then it seems like, well, maybe she's expendable. Maybe, oh, this would be shocking. She could die right now or something. Which she doesn't. But I didn't care. I wasn't afraid for her. I wasn't like, oh no, not girl who has the hair that's like the bangs. Because literally every character looks so much alike in this show that unless they have like a really distinct hairstyle, I can't tell them apart. The beginning of the episode, I didn't realize at first that it was a recap, because the characters that it was recapping looked exactly like everyone else, and I was just like, who the fuck are these guys? Oh, right, it's all the people who got killed at the end of the last episode. And then, you know, the two love interests, one of them's got the swooshy hair and one of them's got the bangs, and that's how you tell them apart. Otherwise, like, their faces, you wouldn't be able to tell. It doesn't matter. The main character wins the fight and everything, but I don't really understand why he's such a good pilot. They've explained, like, oh, he trained with whatever down below ground. He did a lot of training, and so he's really good at it. I haven't seen him train. I don't feel anything for him as a character. You know, I felt more watching A-chan from Baby Steps like hit his first tennis ball was like a meaningful moment. Watching this guy fucking wreck alien things is not interesting. I don't care that he did it. I don't care that he saved the day. I don't even care about Sidonia as a place, so I feel nothing about the fact that it got saved. I feel nothing towards him as a character. There's one interesting moment in this episode, and that's when Sidonia has to change course and everyone has to lock themselves onto these bars, or else they're going to fly off and get crushed. And you see like all these people who didn't make it fly out the windows and just splatter on buildings, which was kind of hilarious in that grimdark, over-the-top way, and entertaining, and a cool idea, but that was it. And all the mech fighting was just like technobabble with no real sense of place or direction or what the fuck was happening or why I care about. I don't know what the fuck a Higgs thing is, so to me, it was boring. One thing I do love about the show is the sound design. I gotta give it that. There's a lot of great noise in this show. Whenever things are moving or flying around or being destroyed. The scene, again, where the ship has to propel itself and, like, the whole thing is falling apart, has all these crazy, chaotic noises, and I thought it sounded great. I'd love to hear a noise album made with samples from this show, because I do listen to harsh noise music, but otherwise, I don't care. Again, if the idea of a gritty sci-fi show that you can just almost turn your brain off and just watch it for the sci-fi. If all you care about is, hey, it's in space and there's a cool space station, and you like just listening to techno music and watching people talk really seriously about stuff, then sure, go ahead. But I don't give a fuck. So, dropped.